We're still celebrating Pride over here, so stay tuned.
Thank you for coming along. Sit back and relax. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Robert Reacts, where I react to things. Thanks for joining me. Today, I'm counting down the top 30 Pride films for you to enjoy this Pride. And this is part 2, so if you missed part 1, be sure to head back and check that out before watching this one. And so, to get right back into it, we have number 15, which is 2005's Kinky Boots.
What do you think?
Burgundy. Please, God, tell me I have not inspired something burgundy.
Which is about a struggling shoe factory which reinvents itself by making fabulous boots for drag performers. This should be real life. They'd make a killing. And a fun fact is that it's based on a true story, and the film later inspired a Broadway musical with songs by Cyndi Lauper, who became the first solo woman to win Best Score at the Tonys. That's wild. Truly, truly, truly wild. Number 14 is 1994's The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Which is a movie about two drag performers and a trans woman who travel across the Australian outback in a bus named Priscilla. This is a drag staple. It is a queer staple. A fun fact about this one is that it won an Oscar for costume design and helped open the door for international queer cinema. And Hugo Weaving was in it pre-Matrix, Mr. Anderson. Number 13 is 2014's Pride.
How do I know my mum's not a lesbian? What he's trying to say is you can't make grand, sweeping generalisations. It's not acceptable.
Every woman is a lesbian at heart. Every woman is a lesbian at heart. Every woman is a lesbian at heart, including Reggie Fong.
A film based on a true story of queer activists who supported striking Welsh miners in 1984. And a fun fact is that the real-life coalition between LGBTQ plus activists and miners led to lasting change, and their story was nearly lost to history before this film brought it back to light. This is a very heartwarming film, and it reminds me a little bit of Kinky Boots, actually. Number 12 is 2016's Moonlight.
At some point, you gotta decide for yourself who you're gonna be. Can't let nobody make that decision for you.
Which is the Oscar-winning film about a young Black man grappling with identity, love, and masculinity across 3 life stages. A fun fact is that this movie was historic at the Oscars for being both the first LGBTQ plus film to win Best Picture and also the first film with an all-Black cast to win the Oscar for Best Picture. And there was also that mix-up with La La Land. Number 11 is 2018's Love, Simon, which is about a closeted teen navigating first love and coming out, all while exchanging secret emails with an anonymous crush. This feels very much like being young and being gay and not being able to tell anyone. Predating things like LiveJournal and other places where you could go and talk about your queerness in essentially an anonymous space.
You get to exhale now, Simon.
Fun facts about this one is that it was the first major studio film to center on a gay teen romance. And Nick Robinson, who plays Simon, actually came out as an ally, and his brother came out during filming. So I'm sure that that movie is extra personal for the actor. Number 10 is 1990's Paris is Burning.
Now you want to talk about reading? Let's talk about reading. What is wrong with you, Pedro? Are you going through it? You're going through some kind of psychological change in your life?
She went back to be a man.
Oh, you went back to being a man. Touch this skin, darling. Touch this skin, honey. Touch all of this skin. Okay? You just can't take it. You're just an overgrown orangutan.
Iconic documentary exploring New York City's ball scene in the 1980s, showcasing queer joy, struggle, and legendary voguing. And this was around the time that the song Vogue had come out, which is interesting because the film was actually made years prior and was only released in 1990. And if you don't know this film, but you do watch Drag Race, you'll be familiar with a lot of the phrases from it, like shade and realness, that have entered the mainstream because of Drag Race. And this is essential queer cinema. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's really good. It's really, really good. Number 9 is 2019's Booksmart.
Hey, Amy. Yeah. Did you just score your teacher's phone number?
Yeah.
Nice.
Which is about 2 academic overachievers who try to cram 4 years of partying into one wild night before graduation. This is such a fun movie. And probably nostalgic for a lot of people who didn't do as much partying. I know I didn't do as much partying as I would have wanted to in high school. And a fun fact about this one is that Caitlin Deaver's character was the first major queer teen lead in a big budget comedy without a trauma plot. Just fun, awkward, and totally herself. And wanting to make out with the blonde girl. Because who doesn't? Number 8 is 2023's Bottoms.
I'm gonna say something crazy. I think you can eat food, digest it, let it marinate, poop it out.
Gross.
Maybe this? You want a bite of this?
Oh, no.
Yeah, this is fucking disgusting. Oh, you want a hot dog? We could go get hot dogs.
I don't know.
Yeah, we could get the bun.
No
the ketchup.
bun.
You gotta get the bun.
No.
Yes, you could.
No.
A film about 2 queer high school misfits who start a fight club to impress the cheerleaders. This movie is genius, not just because of the plot or some of the things that come out of the plot, where they start this fight club and then there's the teacher who joins, and like all of the guidance they're getting from this teacher is wild. But then there's also the way that the film treats the football players in it, which is very much a juxtaposition from the way that most female characters are treated in high school movies. They've swapped it and essentially treated the male characters the way that the female characters would be treated in a film from, say, the 80s or the 90s. This is queer rage channeled in the best way possible. Number 7 is 2022's Fire Island.
The defense is wrong!
No! The defense is wrong!
No!
No!
The defense is wrong!
And Joe Pesci, how do you know?
And she goes, I'm positive.
I'm positive.
Penelope Cruz.
Oh, my biological clock is ticking like this, and the way this case is going, I ain't never getting married!
Which is a queer retelling of Pride and Prejudice set on the iconic Fire Island Pines. This movie is lovely, and I regularly am disappointed that it did not get a theatrical release. If there's a possibility to release this theatrically for Pride, please do it. Please. Or maybe you want to release it for Bowen's birthday or Joel Kim Booster's birthday, whatever. Put it in theaters. I want to see it on a big screen. I really enjoyed this film. I loved the chemistry between the main characters. And I love that I knew some of these people before they were famous. And so I understand that they're actually friends. These are actually friends acting together in this movie, and it makes it extra special. A fun fact about this is that Joel Kim Booster wrote the script while he was on Fire Island, and it was originally meant to be developed as a Quibi series before they saved it and turned it into a Hulu film. I guess that's maybe why it didn't get a theatrical release, but I still want one. Number 6 is 2022's Bros.
What would you like to see in the museum?
A haunted house of gay trauma.
A haunted house of gay trauma?
Yeah, it's a cart on a track, and there's...
I'm sorry, this is a ride?
Yeah, it's a fucking ride. Does you think a ride is too much?
No, no. It's perfect. Please, keep going.
Which is a film about a commitment-phobic podcast host who falls for a seemingly chill bro, and then things get complicated. And a fun fact about this is that it was the first gay rom-com from a major studio with an all LGBTQ plus principal cast. Billy Eichner co-wrote and starred in it, and it made history on multiple fronts. I mean, we have so many queer actors playing straight in this, from Amanda Bierce to Jay Rodriguez. It's really amazing to be able to live in this sort of Xana Don't world that Billy Eichner has created with this film. I really enjoyed it. And special bonus was that I saw the movie on opening night in the theater that is in the film. It was just it was one of those things where Daniel and I went to see it, and we recognized one of like the clock that's on the wall in the lobby of the theater in the movie, and we're like, wait, that's the movie theater we're in right now. And it was just like mind-blowing. Extra points because it was filmed in my hometown. Number 5 is 1999's Trick.
There is a drag queen in the bathroom?
A little piece shy? Oh, don't worry. Miss Coco's here to help.
This movie holds the specialist place in my heart because because I watched this film when I was coming out, and it made me feel like being gay was going to be just fine. And I know that I've had conversations about this film with other friends of mine who have. One in particular said that it made him embarrassed to be gay, which I think is a lot. It's a film about two guys who try and keep failing to find a place to hook up in New York City, leading to unexpected connection. It's a very heartwarming film. It's very sweet. And it's probably why most of my hookups were trying to look like this. And a fun fact is that it was filmed in 18 days. And it became a sleeper hit in the festival circuit, with Tori Spelling's musical number being an instant cult moment. Because of course it is. Number 4 is 2006's Another Gay Movie.
I think I like guys.
Yeah. This was finally the American Pie for the queer community that we have been looking for. It's a parody of gay teen rom-coms, raunchy, ridiculous, and full of campy humor. And a fun fact is that the film is packed with cameos from LGBTQ plus icons like Graham Norton, who plays Mr. Buckoff, and Lipsinka, who plays the main character's mom. It proudly leans into over-the-top stereotypes and flips them on their head. This is such a fun movie. Again, as someone who loved American Pie as much as I did, to get a movie that is the queer American Pie is perfect for Pride. Number 3 is another movie that is like woven into the fabric of who I am as a person. It's 1999's But I'm a Cheerleader.
Have you ever had sex with him? I'm a Christian. It's really easy to be a prude when you're not attracted to him, isn't it?
He's very handsome. But does he make you hot? I mean, do you think of him at night when you...
I'm not perverted. I get good grades. I go to church. I'm a cheerleader.
I spent a lot of my teenage years watching this film with my friends. It's about a cheerleader who is sent to conversion therapy and ends up discovering her true identity and true love. I remember finding out about this movie. It was sold to me as a movie about queer anonymous, which was such a strange concept to me because I saw this movie before I came out, and I'm sure that it helped me process a lot of the emotions I was feeling but not understanding. And it's interesting, the director wanted the movie to look like a Barbie dream world to emphasize how absurd gender norms are. And it's funny that RuPaul plays the reformed ex-gay coach with a mustache. These filmmakers knew what they were doing. Number 2 is probably the first gay movie, well, one of the first gay movies I'd seen, maybe the second one, because Rocky Horror was the first. I regularly forget that. Number 2 is 1996's The Birdcage.
The woman who is singing invented you. You are her fantasy, And suddenly, you, the fantasy, see her, your inventor, and she becomes your fantasy.
I don't think I get it.
Try more gum. Albert.
I hear you.
Which is a film that I was taken to the movies to see by my homophobic parents. What an interesting little twist that is. It's a film about a gay couple who must play it straight when their son's conservative future in-laws come to dinner. And it's also an adaptation of La Cage aux Folles. It's just, this is such a good movie. I could watch this movie right now and rewind it and watch it again. Rewind it. I am an elder millennial, can you tell? Fun fact is that much of the dialogue was improvised, because of course it was. Robin Williams was in this movie. And the famous dinner scene took so many takes because the cast couldn't stop laughing. I can only imagine. Who sets the table without looking at the bowls? And number one is 1995's To Wong Foo, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar.
I ain't apologizing to no ladies. No way. No way.
Just as I expected. Well, do you like my nails? Walk. What can I say? She's had a difficult life.
This movie is, it's one of those movies that you just like, you think about it and you feel good. It's about 3 drag queens on a road trip who break down in a small town and they change the town's lives with their fabulousness. It's such a sweet film, but it also plays into this idea of queer people being of service to straight people, which is a little bit of a bummer, but the movie still lives in my heart. A fun fact is that the 3 lead actors in this film all had to do their own makeup for drag, which drag queens out there know how hard it is to do your own makeup when you know what you're doing. Imagine being thrown into this as just your everyday actor. And Swayze was practicing walking in heels for weeks. And the title comes from an actual autographed photo they found of Julie Newmar. And that's the top 30 Pride movies you can enjoy this Pride. Let me know what you think of these films in the comments. Have you seen any of them? Did you like any of them? Did I leave anything out? I know I left some stuff out, but I left it out on purpose because this is my list. If you have any ideas for lists that I could do in the future, let me know in the comments. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.